Hello, fourth grade. This is Miss Kyle here to do lesson 10.4 with you today. Let's go through our lesson expectations. Your expectations are for you to have a quiet place to work, where you can be focused and present, for you to have a positive, smiling attitude because we are here to learn and it's exciting and it's important to have that smile on your face while we're doing it so that we can train our brains that, hey, new learning is a good thing. Your third expectation is for you to have your Chapter 10 workbook, and your last but not least, a great pencil for you to be writing with. We are on lesson 10.4 today, and let's take a look at our learning goal. Go ahead and try your best to read it to yourself first, and then I will read it aloud to you. All right, now my turn. I will be able to sort and classify quadrilaterals. Now, you may or may not have heard that giant fancy word before, but if not, it's okay. I'll tell you that this is just a fancy way of saying that I can put shapes that have four sides into groups based on what I know. So you will be able to classify quadrilaterals. Try saying that 10 times fast. And let's get started. Our key vocabulary word is this word here, quadrilateral. Now, that is just a fancy way of saying that it is a shape that has four straight sides and four angles. That quad section here in our word means four, and lateral means sides. So we're mostly talking about four-sided figures. So we have a giant list right here of all these different kinds of four-sided figures. And before we continue, I'm curious if you can name what each of these shapes is. Go ahead and pause the video and start with this first one here. What kind of shape do you think we have here? And just go down the line and let's see where your starting knowledge is before we keep going with our lesson. So go ahead and pause, see what you can do, and then continue along with me. So before we jump into what each of those shapes are, I want to show you something that we're going to be really focusing on in today's lesson. Do you see these little tick marks here? They're just these little lines. These marks are telling us something really important about this shape here. Whichever lines match, it's saying that those sides have an equal length. So line BA and line CD are the same exact length. But we have some two tick marks here, which means that these two, BC and AD, are the same length when you compare those together. So whenever you're seeing those tick marks, that's just a really easy way of saying, hey, we don't know what length is right there, but they are going to be the same. So if line CD was 2 inches, line BA would also be 2 inches. And if line BC was 4 inches, line AD would also be 4 inches. It's just saying that they share the same length, just within that shape. All right, let's go through and see if you got those shape names correct. The first one we have is a trapezoid. We have seen trapezoids come up around math every year, hopefully since you were in kindergarten. A trapezoid is able to be classified if you have at least one pair of parallel lines. So my parallel lines, remember, they don't touch. They just go alongside one another. They're like good friends that have a wall between them. So here we have kind of a shorter line and our longer line on the bottom, and they are parallel, which means they would not touch if we just kept extending them. And because there's only one pair, that means we have a trapezoid here. Next, we have a parallelogram. To classify a parallelogram, you just need two pairs of parallel sides. So I have one pair on the top and bottom, and another pair on the left hand side, and two pairs of sides that are equal. So we're going back to those tick marks that I showed you in the last slide. Because these two are equal, that's one pair that's equal, and another pair that's equal. Because this shape fits both of these important rules, we know it's a parallelogram. And third on this page, we have a rhombus. It's kind of like a curved square, like it just got slightly off balance. And so we can classify something as a rhombus if it has two pairs of equal sides, of parallel sides. So we have one pair, two pair, and that all four sides are of equal length. So notice here, all of my tick marks have just one tick mark, which means all four sides are equal. So if this side was 2 miles long, each of these other sides would also be 2 miles long. Let's continue on. These are some classic shapes that you have encountered throughout your time in schooling, throughout your life. They are all around us. We have rectangles and squares. Now, the only difference between a rectangle and a square is that a rectangle tends to have two pairs of sides of equal length, while a square has sides that are all equal. So we have our two tick marks on the top and the bottom that's showing this is the same length as the top and the bottom are the same length, and the left and the right side are the same length, whereas in a square, it's all four of them. Another important classification is that rectangles and squares each have four right angles. There are those 90-degree angles that we've been talking about throughout this chapter. Alrighty, let's do a little quick check-in. What kind of shape do we have here? Go ahead and say it aloud or keep it in your brain. What kind of shape is A, B, C, D? We know it's a quadrilateral because it has four sides, but which kind of quadrilateral is it? That's right, it is a trapezoid because it only has one pair of parallel lines, and none of them look to be the same length. How about over here? I have three of the same shape that are just kind of curved in different ways. What kind of shape do we have here? Get it in your brain? There's that kind of curved square, which tells us that we are dealing with a rhombus. All right, fourth grade, let's do some practice here. Go ahead and turn to page 567 in your chapter 10 workbook. We're going to color in some shapes in order to help us train our brains on classifying some of these quadrilaterals. All right, once you're ready to get started, go ahead and press play once more. So over here we have our color guide, and it's saying first we want to color the shapes red that have exactly 4 angles. Before I even continue to really think about what the other colors are asking me, I'm just going to start with that red one. So our right angles can be shown with these little squares that are in blue right now for you. I know they're really small, but that tells us that we have a right angle. So we're not just looking for one, we're looking for 4 right angles. If you see a quadrilateral on here that has 4 right angles, go ahead and color it in red or just write a big R in the middle. If you have the colors, that would be the most helpful for your learning, but if not, that's okay. I understand that sometimes we're a little tight on materials, and that's okay. Pause the video if you need more time. And let's go on to our next color, and then we'll do a big reveal of all 3. For the color blue, we're looking for any shapes that have exactly 2 right angles. So not exactly 4, exactly 2 would be colored blue. Remember, those right angles are these little square shapes that are telling us that we have a right angle. So if you see any shapes that have exactly 2 of these within it, go ahead and color it blue. Pause if you need more time. And let's see what we have left is orange. If we have any shapes that have just exactly 1 right angle, go ahead and color those orange. And it's okay if it's just 1 or 2. Go ahead and pause if you need more time. And here's the big reveal. We have our 4 right angles over here. Trick question, what kind of shape are we dealing with if we have 4 right angles? and we have two pairs of sides the same length. That's right, we are dealing with a rectangle. Over here in blue, this shape has exactly two right angles. What kind of shape are we dealing with here? Let's take a peek back at our criteria. So this shape looks like it has two right angles, and I'm only seeing one pair of parallel sides. So let's see. To me, that looks like a trapezoid. So with a trapezoid, you just need at least one pair of parallel sides. And that's something that I see in this shape, is these are parallel sides. It's okay that it doesn't quite look the same. If it fits those rules, that tells us that we're dealing with a trapezoid. And how about over here? What kind of shape do we have here? Any ideas? Let's take a look here. That's not a trapezoid because we have no parallel sides. It's not a parallelogram because we don't have equal length sides. You know what that tells us? That's just a regular old quadrilateral. We don't always end up classifying it with these 5 shapes. Sometimes they're just kind of their own funky shape. So that's just telling us that we just have a regular old quadrilateral right there. You ready to keep on going? All right. Go ahead and turn to page 569 and pause if you need more time. You're always welcome to have the time that you need. And what we're doing right here is classifying each figure as many ways as possible. So we're writing quadrilateral, trapezoid, parallelogram, rhombus, rectangle, or square, and some of these might be able to have more than one way of classifying. Now, let me back up a minute. That might sound kind of confusing, but what that means is there are some shapes that fit rules for both a quadrilateral and a rhombus, or a quadrilateral and a square. So we just have to show our brain like, hey, it's okay that these are in the same category. Like if I were to have fruits, for example, I know that cucumbers and watermelons are different, but they're both green fruits. That's okay. And same for what we're dealing with here. We're working with shapes. So go ahead and take some time, and on page 567, there is a really easy chart that has this information. So if you need some extra time to look back and say, which of these matches what I need here? Do you see right angles? Do you see equal sides? Do you see parallel lines? What do you have there? And go ahead and take your time. Pause if you need more time. And I am going to keep on going. For our first shape here, I'm noticing that there are not any equal sides. It doesn't look like we have any parallel lines or right angles. So that tells me that right here, we're just dealing with a regular old quadrilateral. Just one of those kind of funky shapes that doesn't really have more of a definition than quadrilateral. It's just got 4 sides. How about this one here? I know there is at least 2 options for that one. Let's see what we've got. Oh, it is a quadrilateral because we have 4 sides. Nicely done. Hope you had that on your paper. Let's see what else we've got. Ooh, it is a trapezoid and a parallelogram. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Let's back up here. What does a shape need to be a trapezoid? Let's think about it. A trapezoid has at least one pair of parallel sides. Well, does this shape have at least one pair of parallel sides? Yeah, it does. So it fits the criteria needed for a trapezoid. Crazy. It says it's also a parallelogram. Oh my goodness, did you get that as well? 2 pairs of parallel sides, and 2 pairs of equal length. So a rectangle is also a parallelogram. Oh my goodness. I know, my mind is blown too. Crazy. That's why it's really important for us to keep in mind all those rules and think about, does it fit? How about this one here? I'm seeing that we have 4 sides of equal length. So that tells us it's a, oh my goodness, look at all these different options. It is not only a rhombus, that curved square. It is a quadrilateral because it has 4 sides. It is a trapezoid because at least one side pair is parallel. Sorry, kind of stumbling over my words there. It is a parallelogram because why? It has 2 pairs of parallel sides and 2 pairs of sides with equal length. Awesome. And it is a trapezoid. Oh, did I already say that one? Yep. Okay. So we have a quadrilateral, a trapezoid, a parallelogram, and a rhombus. So crazy that we can classify these shapes in so many different ways. All right, 4th grade, that's it for our lesson today. I'm going to post a really fun YouTube video that shares a little bit more about quadrilaterals. I hope that you are doing well, and remember to use page 567 as a really good guide while you're training your brain to recognize these shapes. Thanks for learning with me, and I will see you next time.